Welcome to the NCV Mathematics Level 2. Today we're looking at factorization and the method of quadratic trinomials. In our first problem, we've got x squared plus 2x minus 3. If we want to factorize this, we can see there is no common factor. There is no grouping we can apply here. There is no difference between two squares. So if there's nothing we can do of common factor, grouping or difference, we have to go assume that this is a trinomial. Also, because it has a square in, it's a quadratic equation. So that also gives us indication we have to use this trinomial factorization. This is quite a complicated story, so let's just pay attention quickly there in the method of how doing it. Now we need to find these factors. So the first step is we call this a trial and error method. So we have to try and see whether certain factors work. It's going to be a process. So the first is write down the factors of the first term x squared and the last term 3. So this is your first term, your last term, and write down the factors of them. So that would mean for x squared we've got a x times x is the factors, and the factors for 3 it will be 3 and 1, meaning 3 times 1 will give you 3. So doing that, we will have x and 3 and 1, the factors of x squared and the factors of 3. We are going to now cross multiply them and write down the answers to the right side. So x times 3 and x times 1, cross multiply, and we find that we get a 3x and a x. So x times 3 and x times 1 gives me 3x and x. We need to now, in our next stage, sum these two, find the sum of these two, and the answer must be equal to the middle term. So in this case, my middle term is a 2x. So if we add or subtract these two, we must get this answer. So if we say 3x minus x, we will get a plus 2x, which is the middle answer. But to get to these factors, we need to now change the signs of these factors we chose to get to these. So that means x times 3, x times minus 1 will give me that factors. Means x times minus 1 will give me this minus x, and x times plus 3 will give me that 3x. And that would be the selection of our factors. We now will put a bracket around the two factors that gave me the first set, which will make up my first bracket over here, and the second set, which is x minus 1, will make up my second bracket over there. So this is what we will do now. Surround the bracket in the first pair, which gave me this answer over here, right? And when we cross multiplied, we got that answer. When we cross multiplied, we got that answer, and then we just take the first set as our first bracket and the second set as our second bracket. So ultimately the answer to this problem, x squared plus 2x minus 3, is that our factors are x plus 3, which we worked out here, and x minus 1, which we also worked out here. So quite a complicated way to solve the factorization. In our next one, we've got 6x squared minus 9x minus 42. Once again, we must list the factors of the first term and list the factors of the second term. So here we've got bigger numbers, so our factors will be more. 6x squared, we can have all these factors of the first term, which is 6 times 1, 3 times 2, and 2 times 3. We write them all down. So meaning if we say 3 times 2, we must also say 2 times 3, right? All pairs of factors. And then the next one for 42, the last term, the factors are 21 times 2, 7 times 6, 2 times 21, or 6 times 7. Again, I repeat, write the factors down in pairs. Do not only write 21 times 2, but also 2 times 21. Because in our next step, remember, it's cross multiplication. So we have to do all possible trial and errors. 6 times 2, 6 times 6, 1 times 21, 1 times 7. And we're going to do a whole range of trial and error until we find a pair that will give me the middle term. So we have to cross multiply all of them, and this is why we call it the trial and error method. You must try a pair and see if it will give you the middle term. If it doesn't give you the middle term, you have to try another pair until you find that pair which will give you that middle term. And in this case, if you take the 3x and the 2x and cross multiply it with the 6 and the 7, it should give us the middle term, because 3 times 7 and 2 times 6 will give me 21x and 12x respectively, which can give me a minus 9x. So this was done through trial and error. We tried all of them. Only these two pairs can work. The only problem now is we need to find the signs of these two to give me a minus x. A 21 and a 12, and the only one we can allocate to that is if we say 3 times minus 7 will give me a minus 21, and a 2 times 6 will give me a plus 12. So we need a minus 21 and a plus 12x to give me a minus 9x, which is the middle term. So we've selected and we've done through trial and error, found that these are the pairs. We've now allocated their signs by looking at what will give me minus 9. And once we've established the signs, we can now take the first set, remember, and make that our first bracket, and take the second set and make that our second bracket. So our ultimate answer is 3x plus 6 from the first set over here, and 2x minus 7 from the second set over there.